Hey, good morning everyone, welcome to TalkCrypto. Hope you're all doing well. Today is the 2nd of May. It's raining, it's shining, the old man is, whatever the song is. It's not shining though. Quick update, 2nd of May. Bitcoin is, I think it's around about 69,000 as I do this video. Again, these are one-take videos as I'm just driving, so thanks for joining me, and we can chew the fat in the car together and have a little hangout like mates and talk about Bitcoin, crypto and all that good stuff really. If you're new to the channel, give us a like, give us a subscribe, really appreciate it, and help a new channel out, help us grow, help us hopefully do some more exciting things in the future. So, quick one, I'll also update you on my $1 a day Bitcoin challenge, which I think is really, really important for newbies, and this channel is dedicated to new to the channel. But I want to just talk about briefly a couple of bits of news, and it's not great news, and I hate to be sort of be a bit negative or you know, whatever, but it's nothing to do with price. It's just more to do with what's happening in this space. I had a good chat with a friend of mine yesterday, and he just reminded me, you know, what was happening I'm not sure when, but I'm guessing it was between 2009 to 2014. And the reason I say that is I'm just recording back until 2008 was the big financial crash. I think it was probably after that, and I'll come on to what it is. And then there was a big European debt crisis where the whole EU almost collapsed. So for those of you who maybe a little bit younger, you might not have been aware of it, of what was happening. Basically, we've pretty much lived in the last 10-15 years of a lot of chaos, particularly in UK and in Europe. I'm going off on a tangent here, but you'll get to my point in a minute. 2008, 2009 was the big worldwide financial crisis and crash where a lot of the banks had to be bailed out by taxpayers' money. That was the birth of Bitcoin with the white paper in 2008, and obviously Bitcoin started in 2009. And it was a way to, you know, it was a remedy to the financial system that we have, where it's corrupt money and it's printed, and that's why we see everything get so expensive and our purchasing power diminishing and assets going up and up. So anyone who's doesn't hold assets, first time buyers, young people, unfortunately you're the guys who are getting screwed over, and it's not fair, but Bitcoin is the life raft. Now then, in 2012, again, I'm remembering just from memory, between sort of 2012 and, I might be wrong with these dates, but around about 2012 to 2014, was it? Or maybe it was 2010 to 2012. I can't remember exactly. There was a European debt crisis, and basically it was the EU potentially, the euro potentially collapsing, and we had a lot of huge bailouts by the European Union, and yeah, there was chaos and countries defaulting. Greece, Spain, what do they call it, the pigs, and yeah, complete chaos. It looked like the euro was dead, but again, they kicked the can down the road and pulled a rabbit out of the hat. Didn't actually solve the problem, they just kicked the can down the road. More quantitative easing, more money printing, more manipulation. Now, at this time, this is going back to a quick chat I had with my friend. He reminded me of this point in time when, can you believe it? You might not know this, some of you will. And I think it also happened in Spain. But he was telling me about a family member or friends, I can't recall exactly, who's a Cypriot and had his money stolen from the government. Literally, Cyprus couldn't pay its bills and just help themselves to the piggy bank of their people and just took money out of people's bank accounts. your wildest imaginations, and I think this also happened in Spain from memory, in your wildest imagination, you cannot imagine that happened, can you? And that's what's so almost bizarre. But in our wildest imaginations, we couldn't imagine that COVID actually happened, and the lockdowns, and the way that the vast majority of people acted. It's almost like surreal, but these things do happen, and they've happened previously in history, and it's awful and horrendous, and all those, it all is. It really does make you stop and think about self-sovereignty, looking after yourself. Again, we can all put our heads in the sand and pretend nothing's going to happen, and to a certain extent, I'm guilty of this as much as I'm sure you are. There's very few people in this world who have probably got it nailed down to a T, and are doing things exactly as probably they should do, and having their plan Bs and all the rest of it. Most of us have to work to get to a position where we can have FU money and a plan B and all the rest of it. Most of us are hustling and trying to make it in this world and all the rest of it. So it's a challenge. I get that, but it really made me sort of reevaluate my not reevaluate, but actually maybe take my self-sovereignty a bit more seriously, and think about, okay, yeah, you know what, maybe I'm a bit relaxed on a few aspects, shall we say, and bringing it all around back to crypto is, again, we think that governments can't. Just spotted a car parking space, I'm just going to dive into that. We think governments, we'd love to think, in an ideal world, when I was younger, I had this, vision that, it sounds awful that, obviously I've changed my mind, but and most people do things for the good, and governments are always going to do things for the good for their people, and everything's going to, people have ultimately a good heart, and I do believe most people do, and I guess probably that's maybe where I'm coming from a little bit, but it's, yeah, the reality is sometimes a little bit different, I think, and as we get older, we get a bit more skeptical, because we've been around the block a few times, had a few knocks and a few bruises. We get back up and we keep moving forward, but we learn lessons, and maybe we get a little bit, negative and skeptical, which is sad. But it made me just take stock, and I want you guys to take stock, not to take this opportunity of Bitcoin and crypto for granted, to think carefully about self-sovereignty, because if your money is just sitting in an exchange, maybe a government might do what they did to Cyprus, Spain, or any other country that they've done in the past. So yeah, I think we all need to be very, very mindful of that, and thoughtful, and not take things for granted, and not just put our head in the sand and think this isn't going to happen. It's happened literally in our lifetimes, crazy things. Are things going to get better? That, I'll let you decide that. And also, it also got me, it's very relevant right now, because if we also see what's happening with the USA and CZ, who some of you will know is the ex-CEO of Binance. He's being prosecuted, and I think he's just been given, 4 months in jail, something like that, which ultimately is a bit of a token gesture. But CZ's, hasn't done anything wrong. Let's not beat about the bush. This is politically motivated. This is the SEC, the government, the big state, having an agenda, and trying to squash for whatever reason, certain aspects within the crypto sector, maybe we can speculate why, maybe some players are playing ball and some players aren't playing ball, and if you're not going to play by our rules, then we'll come after you with everything that we can throw at you. So that's happened literally yesterday, I think it was. Maybe a day, it's been ongoing, obviously, but I think he was sentenced yesterday. I think I might be wrong. And we've got the other guy. What was his name? Roger Ware, something like that. He was a proper OG in Bitcoin, and I think basically he's relinquished his citizenship like years ago, and he moved away from America because obviously, for those of you who don't know, if you're an American citizen, obviously any Americans watching this, you'll know this, but obviously a lot of other people who might not know. If you're an American citizen, they'll tax you on worldwide income no matter where you live, even if you live in another country. So you've got to renounce your citizenship to basically not pay the IRS tax for your entire life. He did that whenever it was. Might have been 2014 or maybe even 2017. I'm not sure. Around about that time. So he renounced his citizenship before the SEC, IRS, or all these government agencies probably had a clear grasp on Bitcoin and a categorization to say it was a commodity or whatever it is. So there's tax to be paid on it. Before they had all those structures and processes and I guess ways to tax people in place. At this point, the governments were just pretty much ignoring it. They thought it was just going to die, or hoping it was going to die. It sounds as though they've retrospectively gone back and saying, oh, now we classify this Bitcoin as a security. When you exited the USA, we're going to retrospectively tax you, or say you owe us $50 million. Even at that point in time, we didn't have any probably systems and processes in place. So it sounds, and again, I haven't dived into it hugely. Let me know in the comments if you know more information, because I'd love to hear. This is just a bit of a snapshot relative to the overall picture, is what the point of the video is. And retrospectively gone back and said, actually, you owe us 50 million. We're going to extradite you. You're not a US citizen. We're going to extradite a foreign national. And who knows what they'll do? Chuck him in prison probably. So yeah, it gets you thinking, guys. It gets you thinking, and you've got to be careful. So think about self-custody, not for keeping things on exchanges. Do things by the book, or leave. And I think that's the choice. And again, I saw another really interesting little clip. It was Michael Saylor. And he talked about, I can't remember where it was. There was I think it was Italy. I think it was an island off Italy. And they had a marina with yachts, where all the millionaires were hanging out and spending their money, millions of dollars in this local community. And the local government said, we need a way to make more money. Let's these foreigners on their boats are just mooring up here, but they're not paying any tax. Okay, we're going to have a harbour tax or marine tax or whatever it was they called it. And the moment it came in, all the boats left. They went round the corner to some other place. And then the whole economy in that area completely collapsed. And that's the same, and it was a really good analogy of Bitcoin and people who own Bitcoin and crypto. That actually, we can just move if we want to. If we're pushed out, if we are We can go on about the list of the frustrations we may have within the community, but we can just move. It's not hard for us to move. We're not having to carry our gold bags, thinking about how we're going to move this from A to B. We can literally, have everything in our heads, or on a wallet of some sort. So it just got me thinking, and I want you guys to think about it, and I think it's really, really important that you do. I'd like to think that the world is a great place and people's best interests are always put ahead of others, but when we see the facts, when we see what's happening, and we open our eyes, and we don't just get busy in our own little world and head down and just like little hamsters on the running wheel of life that we all experience, I think we need to sometimes just wake up. It's like the Matrix, isn't it? So listen, guys, I wasn't planning this video. It sort of just was something that's come to me, like literally as I've been having a few chats and seeing a few things, and so I just wanted to share with you. So guys, look after yourself, like the video, subscribe of course, and we'll try and do a bit more of an upbeat one tomorrow, to the next day, whenever I do it, okay? I don't want everyone getting down, all right? So positivity, the market is doing its thing. These little downward moments happen, these sideways moments happen. We may have not a lot happening in the whole of May. We're still so early, guys. If you're in this space right now, you are fantastically lucky to be alive. Enjoy it. Be patient. It will all come good if you're just patient and you're sensible. All right, guys, I love you and leave you. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.